First Lady of Fashion, and myself are now joined by Machere Pokane, the founder of a fashion house brand, and Liz Ogumbo, who juggles between being a designer, an artist, a composer, and being an entrepreneur. As a matter of fact, I'm excited that I'm sitting with all fashion entrepreneurs next to me. Welcome to the show. I'm gonna start with you, Machere. Like, it's been nice over the years to see you grow in the industry.
I know, it's been incredible.
I didn't think that you've been in fashion this long.
It has been a while.
Yeah.
I think I started, I actually don't remember when I started. 2002, 2001, somewhere there, I think I started making clothes for the first time.
Yeah, what got you into the industry?
Just pure love for fashion. I went to fashion school, came back home, and I needed to have a job, and I didn't know where I was going to work, and I started making clothes.
And that's a little plus 10 years ago or so?
Yeah, maybe 12, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the time, I mean, was fashion profitable for you to have lasted this long?
No, fashion has never really kind of been profitable until of late, really recently.
But why not?
For me, I don't know. I think my focus when I first started was I started making once-off clothing for this woman and that woman and that woman. And on the winter months, then you'd have to work a little bit harder, and started having kids. It was just a medley of all sorts of things that didn't really make sense, and really no great plan of what it is that I wanted to do with fashion.
And Liz, I mean, what is your style?
I also started my design work in 2007 in Nairobi. And my background...
Because you're originally from Kenya.
Yes, because I'm originally from Kenya. And I'm a self-taught creative. So as a model for almost 20 years, I learned a lot backstage between New York, Milan, Paris. And I saw the garments, I saw the designers, I almost kind of feel like I was in that world. And I came up with my collection, which was conceptualized in Nairobi, and we started the business of fashion, which is what I was hoping to start. And obviously, I've got a showroom that I run here. And when I started in Nairobi, I also realized that the dynamics, the logistics, everything was just different. In Nairobi, one of the things that happened when I started my fashion brand was the fact that Kenya at that time, and still is, have something we call mtumba. Mtumba is used clothing. And when you look at used clothing that's selling, like, you could get this dress for $1 or $2, and then you put me in competition with that mtumba, which is used clothing, which comes in as charity or aid, and then hustlers buy it and sell it.
Yeah.
And then you realize you're in such a space that you're really in a hard space. And then the second thing is, when you look at the economy and you look at what is the priority, the haves and the have-nots, the gap was like extremely large. Who's going to come and buy this Liz Ogumbo dress for $100?
But people buy international brands for expensive
But you have
prices.
to remember, Nairobi is not, in fact, let's talk about the continent.
Yeah.
The continent is not necessarily wired up in sort of the mall setup, brands coming in and really flourishing and selling. South Africa is really a unique sort of space in the continent when it comes to brands that will come in, set up the Zaras, the H&Ms, the Who's, and actually succeed and expand.
Yes, I'm actually going to come in there. I'm interested in the psyche of an ordinary South African consumer, that they will spend 20,000 rands on a Louis Vuitton bag, but on our local brands, they think twice.
I think it's a matter of trust. It's a matter of I grew up with the Valentinos, the Versace's, kind of knowing who they were, and I think that's part of why I wanted to be a designer. But coming to Africa is you have to trust the people that are making the clothes, and then also because there's lots of women that work with their hands. Mom, Betty around the corner can make this dress. Do you know what I mean? So Machere, I can put it up at Fashion Week, all good and well, and then I just take a picture of it, even before social media was also incredible, and then I can make it in town for a lot cheaper. So why spend 20 grand on this dress when Mom Betty can also make it?
It's actually about looking good. I mean, I remember, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, I'm gonna pose the same question to you, Lucilla. About 2 years ago, I think Mrs. Kanye Jomo. I think she was starting Luminance. And I remember there was a lot of noise comparing the brands that she'd bring from internationally and the local brands that she'd manufacture in the KZN and employing our own local people. And a lot of people were making a lot of noise. And I just want to get into this psyche of an ordinary South African consumer who can afford to pay exorbitant amounts for international brands, but they can't do such for in supporting our own brands.
Well, I don't think it's about support at all. I think that if the South African designers can create brands that are desirable, like they've done in Europe in the 70s, because that is what they've done. Italy has actually took their whole industry and turned it around, where they marketed their designers as desirable brands. I think that the South Africans can really succeed, and I see it every day. I mean, you see people like, for instance, Gert-Jan Coetzee, that is running out of stores, running out of Spree, and he's building his brand, you know, but he's found a niche, you know.
So it's also about building that brand.
It is all about, we live in an age of non-needs. So we need nothing. You don't need anything.
I do.
That's what you say. But you act exactly. But actually we don't. We are now driven by desires. So I must have that and I must have that. So I must have a Naked Ape. I must have a Clive Rundle. And that's what the South African brands must create, because they can.
Do you agree,
Not
Machere?
because they support.
No, I do.
Yeah.
And I think it's easier and easier now with social media.
Exactly.
Because you can make it now and post it now, and the more you post, the more people like, the more your
People
brand,
know.
people know about you, passing it around.
And where do you sell
then
your
it
designs?
becomes, I have just started a new store called Zulu at the airport.
Yeah, I heard about Zulu. By the way, congratulations.
Thank you. And I've got 14 designers, South African or African designers, and where they're curating under their own labels. So Liz is also one of our very popular designers in the shop. And so I sell my stuff through there. Yeah.
And you're not doing mass production yet?
No, we're not doing mass production yet.
And you're comfortable with it?
We're very comfortable with it.
With your gradual growth?
Yes, we're very comfortable with it. We're about to start supplying a store in Atlanta in about a month.
Okay.
We're going to try that out and see how it works, because we're at the airport on the international.
So you're very smart
section.
about being on the international side, right?
Yes.
Because you also have international people that travel all over the world.
They travel
seeing
over
your
the world
designs.
and they see our designs and they want our designs, and they come with pictures and they say, oh, and they leave from South Africa to Kenya or Namibia and they see what they want and they come back and they take it home.
Wow, and it's quite awesome that you're working with Liz. Liz, you're a master collaborator. I mean, you're really sharp and you're really smart. And I must say, the reason why I say so, because she's dressed me before, I've done a lot of work with her, but you're also multi-talented. So you're not only a fashion designer, how do you find the mixture between your artistic talent or prowess, being a vocalist, a singer, a writer, a performer, and your fashion?
For me, I think fashion coincides with music. And I think that, you know, as creatives, first of all, I want to remind fashion brands out there, or fashion designers, that we are artists as well. And I don't know why, for some reason, fashion designers get pushed in a corner where it's fashion, but fashion is a form of art. So is music. So is art on canvas. And so for me, I think my biggest high is the fact that I am able to tell my stories, think about them, write them down into music, and even translate it and push it into the collection. Because a story like Safari Collection is what we just showcased at SA Fashion Week.
Yes, by the way, awesome
Thank
awesome
you,
line, yeah.
and thank you for joining us there as well.
Thank you, I enjoyed it.
And
thank you for putting me on the front row.
Yeah,
You
well,
made me
it was a
feel
front row
important.
for everyone.
It's not her that put you on the front row. I put you on the front row.
Oh, thank you, Lucilla.
Yes, but you know what's so cool is I started writing, thinking, and I was like, okay, what is it that I want to, what story do I want to tell? And I sat down, and as I'm writing my music, I was able to start conceptualizing a whole collection.
Thank you, ladies. Well, there you have it, ladies in fashion, Machere, Lucille, and Liz.